Alright folks, I've been asked many times to do a quick video on this. I don't know how quick it's going to be, but we'll see. We're going to talk about cleaning and lubricating your gun. And here I have my standard Taurus 24/7 Pro 45, which I have not taken to the range recently. So it's pretty much squeaky clean. Here is a Springfield Armory XD40 that I just picked up in a trade just a few minutes ago. It was a good deal. I traded my old laptop for it. They're really nice guns, and these two guns are actually very similar. I'm going to do a quick comparison real quick. There's no Taurus security system on the XD like there is to lock it up. There is a loaded chamber indicator, I believe, and I think that's it. I'm not too familiar with the XDs. They both have poly bases, and flip this over so you can see. The XD, there's your slide block, and there's your there's that slide block. There's no thumb safety on this XD. The new 2008 XDs have a thumb safety, which is great. But instead of a thumb safety, these XDs have a grip safety. So I've got that. So I'm going to break this down and show you side by side what these look like. But what we're going to be cleaning is this. This is remarkably dirty, and I wanted to find a really dirty weapon to show you. So I know this one is loaded, and it's got one in the chamber. But the safety's on, as you can see. This one is completely unloaded, but we'll go through that when we break down the guns. The first thing I'm going to do is set up my cleaning area. So I'm going to actually move this stuff over to the side. And the very first thing I'm going to do is juggle a bunch of crap that I should have gotten rid of before. Alright. First thing I'm going to do is lay out a good cleaning towel. That's all it is. It's a good quality, or actually this is a really crappy, it's like half a towel. So, got the weapons out right there, and I'm going to go ahead and unload both of these so you guys can see it. Alright, this one's got one in the chamber. Safety off, eject the magazine, and I'm going to rack it back, get that round out of it. You always want to double check. You can see right in there, put your thumb in there, make sure there's nothing in there, and you're good to go. So, the Taurus 45 is clear, and as always, I'm going to take my ammunition. If I'm going to work on my firearms and I don't want them loaded, I'm going to take my ammunition and put it behind me. Some people actually go so far as to put it in a different room, but yeah. Alright, so this is the Springfield. I'm going to rack it back. Look in the chamber, visually look, stick your finger in there. Nothing in there. There's no magazine loaded, so we're good. Got a little injury on my thumb there, so I can't really use the thumb release on that well. Alright, so we got both those weapons. There are a few things we're going to need. I'm going to show you guys. I don't know if I've shown on video. This is an old 50 caliber ammo box that I keep my cleaning supplies in. I've got just an old dish rag just so I can wipe stuff down on. Got to have one of those. So I'm putting that out. This is essential. Got to have cotton or otherwise cloth. I prefer cotton cleaning swat or cleaning patches, and plenty of Q-tips. Got to have Q-tips. And here's another assortment of miscellaneous patches and swatches. Great for running through the barrels. This should be in absolutely every, it's in reverse so you can't see it. This is Tetra gun grease, or you can use Hops gun grease. This is just what I happen to pick up. Got to have one of these, and I'm going to show you guys where to lube them to. Quit laughing, I heard that. Alright, I got a couple of things that my wife picked up at the store the other day. Yeah. Actually, let me reverse. That's going to be a problem here. Alright, this will be a little bit better. I had it the camera on mirror. You guys can actually read this stuff now since it's not mirrored. It's nitro solvent, and here's the Tetra gun grease. And Hops is another really good brand. That stuff works great. It's important to keep your guns clean, but you also want them working well, and this just gives you an extra little bit of lubrication. So I'm going to need that, and this is nitro solvent. I don't actually have a whole lot of use for this because I use an all-in-one. And here, it's nice to have Remington gun oil or any sort of gun oil on hand in the aerosol, just for oiling up the occasional spot that needs it. So I've got both of those. And of course, miscellaneous cleaning rods and all that fun stuff. I'm going to need probably at least one of those. Here's an old gun oil again that I got out of an old kit. And some more nitro solvent. This is actually empty. I gotta throw this away. This is the Bad Mama Jamma. This is what I use. It's the all-in-one. It is a cleaner, lubricant, and preservative, whatever the hell that means. But it's both a cleaner and a lubricant. So this is going to be your solvent, and it's going to lube everything up. CLP, break free, and just look for this little symbol here with it's like a little particle of dirt breaking in half. This stuff is just phenomenal. This is really all you need with some Q-tips and a couple other swabs. Also going to need a bore brush, which I've got, and here's my miscellaneous assortment of mops and bore brushes. These are my two mops for, that's a mop for 12 gauge, and there's a bore brush for 12 gauge, and here's the mop for the 45, and a couple of other plastic pushers. So we've got those. I'm actually going to need those, and of course I have some 45 snap caps in there too. Okay. I'm going to close this, lock it down, get it out of the way. Alright. So I've got my CLP break free, and I'm going to need this for sure, so I'm going to leave that there, and I am going to eventually need this. I'm also going to need a pusher. You can actually just use any old rod. This is a gun cleaning rod, but this is nice because it's got sort of a non-marring plastic tip on it. So I'm going to get that in there, and we're just going to use that to push cloth through the barrel. So I've got that. I'm going to set that aside. It has two extensions and a handle. You really only need the extensions and the handle if you're doing a rifle or something like that. If you're doing handguns, you don't need that. It comes in the kit anyway. And I'm also going to need a mop. This is just basically a cloth. Instead of an abrasive scrubber, it's just soft cloth, and I use this for a final cleaning after my paper comes out clean, and I use it to make sure I've got lubrication everywhere. So I'm going to take this, put it aside, and I've got my rag, and I'm going to go ahead and get some Q-tips out so I have those at the ready. I apologize for the audio in this. I've got the camera set up at sort of a weird angle, so you guys can see everything, but that's sort of, unfortunately, that's what we got to deal with. Alright, so I have that completely unloaded. You guys saw me unload it. I've got my Taurus 24/7, and we're going to do a side-by-side breakdown on this stuff, just so I can show you guys that, well, they're virtually the same. Alright, so for your XD, this is how you break these down. I've showed you how to break down the Taurus, but for this, it's really similar you lock the slide back, make sure it's unloaded, lock the slide back, and then once the slide is locked back, you've got this lever here, and notice this notch. That notch right there shows you that this lever is going to go right up through there. So I'm going to grab it and twist it. This gun's really dirty and dry, so it's kind of hard to twist that, but we'll fix that. Alright, so now that that's twisted up to a 90-degree angle, I'm going to let the slide go back forward. And here's one of the things I don't like about the XD. To get the slide off of here, you got to pull the trigger, man. Alright, so I'm going to grab the slide, and I've got a good grip on the gun. Grab the slide, pull the trigger, and then slide your slide forward. It'll just come off, just like that. So here's your body with all the internal mechanisms, and don't know how well you can make that out on camera, but that is just filthy. I got it from another CHL, and apparently this was just his range gun, and he didn't care much about it. So, and it's just bone dry in there. Alright, so here's our slide assembly, and this has virtually got the same recoil rod as the 24/7. So I'm just going to grab that, pull it off, just like that. This is a metal recoil rod, which is actually nicer than the 24/7, even though I haven't had any problems with the plastic one. And here's your barrel, and this has got a matte finish on it instead of the stainless finish. I'm not sure what the actual finish name is, but alright, so there we've got that. And then here's your actual slide. Now this thing is just freaking filthy. So I'll do a quick disassembly on this. If I can. There we go. That goes there, and I actually need, my fingers aren't very strong when it comes to small parts. So for me, I actually need a little screwdriver to help pop that pin out. So there's the pin out. I'm going to take this and put it right over here so I know exactly where it's at. Get rid of my screwdriver. I don't want that to mar up any of my finish. Once the pin is out, I can let my slide go back forward, and then I got to pull the trigger again to let that come forward. And you'll see this. You can't really see on camera, but this is nice and clean. Got some stuff in the rails that's actually grease to help it do what it's got to do under pressure. So that's my bottom of my Taurus, and you can see that's virtually the same as it was on the 24/7. Alright, so I'm going to pull that out, and I actually don't need to clean this. I just wanted to show you. It's basically the same as the other one. This is a 45 compared to the XD's 40 right now. So I'm going to put this back together. And again, lock the slide back. Make sure your barrel's all the way forward. Put your pin in. And there you go. So that's back together. Alright, now here's what we're going to do. Got 3 parts, or the 4 major parts for a field strip. Got my CLP. I'm going to break it up. You can use the straw if you want. I want to get some good penetration going on this one. So I'm going to plug the straw in. So there we go. Alright, and again, you want to make sure you have a towel down because you're going to use some excessive amounts of this stuff. First thing I want to do is I'm going to hold this up to the light, and we're going to take a look at the bore. Bore's good. It's got a little bit of dirt. Nothing this won't fix. I'm going to just give this a good liberal spritz, and this stuff will just start to solve, and it's going to start breaking everything down. You want to give a good spray inside, get it just saturated, and don't worry about this stuff getting on your stock. You can wipe it down, it's no big deal. So I've got the barrel, and I want this to soak for a minute, so I've got it sprayed down. Alright, here's the slide. What you want to do is you want to get a good liberal spritzing all the way in, and you want to make sure you get these rails on the inside, get these nice and clean, and then we're going to come back and grease them up later. Also, because this is a lubricant, you want to get Same on this is the same on the 24/7 too. You want to make sure you get some lube in here and in here. We're not going to pull this slide completely down, but we want to make sure we get some lubricant in there, especially since this one's been dry for so long. There's a couple of spots to really watch for buildup on the rails on either side of this riser here, and watch your rails all the way up. And then on the inside, you're going to get, well, you can see, I'll just rub my finger in there. See all that black crap on my finger? And then we want to get the outside of the muzzle too, right there, because that's going to have some powder on it, and you can spray the whole outside as well. Alright, so I'm going to get a good liberal spritzing on this thing. There we go. Alright, that's just drenched, which is what I want. Normally you don't have to get this much on it, but this thing's really dirty. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the body. And I noticed when I took this apart earlier, we got a trouble spot we got to look at. Not only does this lever not want to move very well, the lubrication will take care of that. Let's see if you can see that on camera. Got two little rough spots starting right there, so we're going to nip that in the bud. I also want to make sure I spray down in here. There's no moving mechanisms on the front part, but you want to get the CLP down there just to get it clean. Anything that's moving, you want to make sure you get a really good spritz on, and this stuff is just filthy. So I'm going to douse this stuff, and you want to make sure you get it all the way down in the magazine well, down here, because that'll get dirty too. And because this has got a safety built into the trigger, right there, let's see if we can move the camera where you can see it. It's got kind of a Glock safety double trigger on it. That's a moving part. I want to get that spritz out really well too. So here we go. Get both sides of this. Alright. That is just positively drenched. Normally I don't use that much, but we got some issues we got to deal with. Alright. So I'm going to let this stuff soak for a minute, and I'm going to talk a little bit about something that's probably going to freak you guys out, that I've actually used firearms for a while. This is a Dremel. There are many like it, but this one is mine. I love this thing. Right now it's got a cutting wheel on it. We're going to swap that out with a polishing wheel, and we're actually going to use that polishing wheel. Well, actually I don't know how much I'm going to use it on this because it's got a black finish and I don't want to rub the finish off. But I'm going to put a polishing wheel on this thing and keep your speed on low. On mine, my speed adjustment's right there. Keep your speed on low, and you can actually, if it's a stainless gun, you can polish that thing to a shine just to make sure everything's up there. And don't be afraid if you've got a hard spot to clean. And I'll show you some of the trouble spots. If you've got a hard spot to clean, a wire brush on this, like a brass brush, will just do wonders. So I'm going to actually swap this out. Just doing some work on the shotgun forend. If you guys want to see a little project I'm working on as an aside while that's choking, I got this Winchester stock for my shotgun. It's the Hogue Winchester 1300, and it's made for an automatic shotgun, so it doesn't fit my my pump action very well. So what I had to do was actually lop off a couple of inches. It was actually out to about right there, and it's got ribs inside here, and the ribs are keeping the slide mechanism from going up as far as it could. So I got my Dremel and I sanded all this stuff down so it'll the mechanism will actually go up to about right here now. The originally the plastic bar right there for that holds the bushing in place only went to right there. So I glued some plastic on with super glue, and this is just scrap plastic I had laying around, and I cut it up with a cutting wheel, and now I'm going to be able to stop my bushing right there. So that's a little project I was working on. Thought about ordering another one that was specifically designed for my shotgun, but Hogue is the only the only company I know that makes this really nice rubberized non-slip grip, and I really want that. So that's a project I've been working on. All right, Dremel. I am going to open up my Dremel and not find what I'm looking for, apparently. Yep, I think I packed it up. Yep, maybe I won't be using the Dremel for this demonstration. I have to go digging through some boxes. Normally what I'll do is I'll get a bit, I don't have one handy, and I'll use this as a polishing wheel if I need to polish up anything. But what comes in really handy, I don't want to use this one, what comes in really handy is this. It's a wire brush. This is a steel brush. I actually don't want to use this one. I've got a brass one that I prefer to use so it doesn't overly scratch. This is wonderful for getting anything caked on. Unfortunately, on the Black XD, since it's not stainless, I'm afraid it's going to knock that finish off there, so I really don't want to use it anyway. But don't be afraid to use a Dremel on your gun. Just do it with a light touch on low speed and you'll be okay. So, alright, put this out of the way since I don't have the bits for it. Alright, we've been soaking for a little bit. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to go in the same order that I actually got it splashed on there, but you actually want to oil and clean this too. I don't have to, I guess I could. There we go. I got it splashed on there, but you want to actually get all the dirt and crap off your recoil rod and spring too. Alright, we're going in the same order we sprayed it down with. First thing we're going to do, take our bore brush, and I want to run it all the way through about 10 times. So I push my bore brush all the way in, and I pull it out. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright. This is going to be your trouble spot, and this is where I would pull out the wire whisk, or the wire brush. Right in here, you're going to get just a crazy amount of buildup from any routine firing. So, barring having the wire brush, you can actually use your bore brush and just go over this. Make sure you get that ramp, your feed ramp right there. Make sure you get that nice and clean. And I usually have trouble spots like right in here around these two posts. I'll have some buildup I have a problem getting rid of. And right in here where your retaining rod, I think it's what it's called, is held. You want to make sure you get right in there. Alright, just going to go lightly down the barrel. And you'll see this, the finish is kind of scratched on that. That's just normal wear and tear for the barrel. That's perfectly normal. And I'm actually going to brush the crown up here a little bit. Alright, so take a look at it in the light. That looks pretty good. Alright, I'm going to dry my hands a little bit. I'm going to get a couple of pieces of cloth, just like that. And for a 40 barrel, I'm just going to use one. I'm going to fold it in quarters. And I've got my push stick. I'm going to push this through, just like that. And we want to pay attention to how dirty it is. That's pretty dirty. But you can use this multiple times. So I'm going to back up. I'm going to put the reverse side on so it's clean again. I'm going to push it through. again, we're going to pay attention to how dirty it is. See, that's much, much, much better. Now, I'm going to turn this way. So I'm going to use all parts of the cloth. I'm going to mount this up again and push it through. And that is virtually spotless. I'm going to do one more pass. This is picking up all the dirt and crap that the CLP got out of there. Now, that came through almost completely clean that time. I only wasted one patch. You can actually rewash these if you want, but they're pretty much trash. I throw them away. Alright, so I'm going to take a look at the barrel. The barrel is crisp and clear, completely clean. Outside looks good. This is actually, it's neglected by a lot of people, but it's really important. You want to make sure you've got a really good shine, and there's no dirt at all on that feed ramp, because that will cause problems and jam. So make sure that's taken care of. Alright, I'm going to do a light toweling off on the barrel. And let's see. Alright, got my mop. Going to put the mop on another rod. I'm going to spray down. I'm going to take that nozzle off because I don't really need it. I'm going to spray my mop down really well. I just sprayed CLP all over my computer monitor. That's no good. Alright, so I have my mop completely saturated. The reason you want to use a mop instead of just spraying down the barrel again, roll that to dry it a little bit, is because the spraying won't necessarily get it in the bore in the barrel, the swirly lines in the barrel, but this sure will. So we're going to send that mop all the way through, just like that. And I'll actually bring it back to, there we go. That is going to thoroughly lubricate the inside of the barrel. So the barrel is done now, and I actually don't need the mop anymore. And again, I'm going to just lightly dry it. You want to keep that oil on there, but you don't want it excessive. So the barrel is done. Alright, so on to the next piece. Let me just knock this out of the way. I'm going to use my bore brush again and just go over the rod. Got a little ring of grime in there. Let's see if I can't just abrasively get that off. Looks like it may be worn on there. Yeah, it's actually worn into the metal. But it looks like it may have been finished at one time with the mat. So, alright, so that's good. I'm going to give it a good squeeze again to get the excess off. I'm drying my hands the whole process here. Alright, so now we're down to the slide. I'm going to take the bore brush. And I'm just going to go down all the crevices in the slide. Just like that. And I really want to pay attention to the rails, the inside grooves right in here. Alright, and there's two openings here. There's one for the recoil rod and one for the barrel. I'm going to get the barrel first. I'm going to squeeze that through the recoil rod hole. And now, just to clean up any dirt or crap on the front, I'm going to brush it. This shouldn't do, because this is a nylon bore brush, it's not going to do any damage to your gun at all. And I'm just going to quickly, to knock any dirt off the outside of it, quickly go over the whole thing real quick. Alright, I'm going to clean up the excess. especially on the outside, because we don't want it too greasy. It's going to be slippery to handle. But we got lube everywhere it needs to go. I'm going to leave the inside pretty wet, because we're going to pop it with some Q-tips. Alright, so I've got the inside of my barrel. Everything's been scrubbed. Take my Q-tips. I'm just going to start rolling them in the crevices. Look at that. That is just filthy. Get your Q-tips in all the little crevices. Right along the rails here. We want lube in the rails, but we want gun grease in the rails, so we don't want just the CLP. And I want to make sure this is your, actually missed this with the bore brush. It's where the firing pin comes out and the rail right in there, so I'm going to brush that down real good too. Take my Q-tip, a fresh one, and I'm going to go over the whole thing really, really well. As soon as that gets dirty, switch to the other side or get you a new Q-tip. You want to go over every surface in here. Yeah, that the back of that firing pin is really bad, or the back of the slider where the firing pin is really bad, but I'll have to break out my brass brush later and see what I can do. Okay. Alright, so the back half looks pretty good. I'm going to clean up the excess oil on the inside here. Get along the rail. As soon as your Q-tip gets really dirty, just swap out. Q-tips are cheap, guns aren't. Alright, then I'm going to take the excess oil out from in here. Ooh, that was nasty. Now it's pretty much coming out clean. Alright, that's pretty much done. I'll police some of my trash here. There we go. Alright, slide's done, barrel's done, and the recoil rod's done. So now we're down to here. And same basic procedure. Scrub it, Q-tip it, and move on. So we're going to get all the mechanisms in here. Just scrub them down. It's not going to hurt anything. Make sure you get the rails. Because I've got that little rust spot, I'm going to really watch that. There we go. Got it off. Getting the rails, get the trigger, get everything in the trigger guard and the trigger, inside and out. Alright, now we're going to do inside the mag well. Get all the way down in there. Believe it or not, you do get quite a bit of powder down in the mag well just from routine firing. You can actually put the brush in because it'll fit right in there, and I'm just going to twist it. Not grinding against anything really, just getting in there to get all the dirt out. There we go. Alright. Give this a quick pat, especially pat the outside down. You don't need lube on the outside, but you want to get CLP on the outside just to give it a good clean. So I'm wiping down the outside really well. I'm going to wipe down the inside of the trigger really well. And I'm going to wipe my hands. There we go. Alright, so now the outside's fairly dry, my hands are fairly dry, and the inside is wet, and we're going to Q-tip it out. Get in there and get all the excessive oil out. Clean everything out in the meantime. Let's see. Good thing about Q-tips is you can generally put them just about everywhere. Really should completely strip this gun down, but I'm not all that familiar with the XD, so I don't know how to do a full strip on it. Or really, even if the manufacturer recommends it. Got some oil pooling up there. Take a look at that rough spot. Yep, we're golden right there. Get back in here. Just pick up the excess. You want to leave some lube in place. I'm just going to swab around the inside to pick up all the extra dirt and oil. There we go. Alright, throw my trash out. Alright, pretty much the final step, we're not going to cover magazines right now, but pretty much your final step is going to be putting some grease on here. I'm a little concerned about that lever being so stiff, but I don't see a really good place to grease it right now. Just works, and I'm going to work it back and forth to get some of that oil in there. Yeah, now it's definitely loosening up now. Good deal. Alright, I'm going to leave it up. Alright, now here's the trick for grease. The way this is going to work is your slide is going to go over the rails like that. So you want grease in the front here, excuse me, on the front rail, and you want grease here on the back of the slide, and as it pushes all the way back, it's going to smear the grease. So you got to keep in mind the direction the slide's going. So I'm going to put some grease on the front of this rail. I'm going to put some grease on the front of that rail, and we'll flip it over and do the other side. There's a little bit of white grease. A little bit. A little bit, a little bit, and I actually don't think I need it on the slide at the moment. So we're just going to work this back and forth. Believe it or not, this will actually really help your gun. It won't feel nearly as gritty after you get 50, 60, 100 rounds through it. It'll still be shooting smooth. Get that grease all smeared in there where it needs to go. Look for both sides. And then we'll push it all the way back to working in place. Make sure it's not built up anywhere at all on the inside of your slide, which it's not. Alright, so we're going to put it back together just like the 24/7. Put your slide in. Put your recoil rod in. It's locked into place. Put the cap on my grease before I forget about it. There we go. Mount your slide. There we go. Push your slide all the way back. Lower your I think that's a retention bar, and release, and you are officially oiled, cleaned, and good to go. And now the only thing left is wipe off any excess oil. Obviously, it's still unloaded, but you wouldn't want to wipe it down like this if it wasn't. Now, in my opinion, I just increased the value of this gun about $50 over what it was, simply because it's all nice, well oiled, and good to go. Yep, I'm actually pretty happy with this. I'm probably going to end up selling it. This is going to go in my either a trade for a 92 or maybe another 24/7, or it could eventually go in my pile to trade eventually for a Bushmaster or a Springfield AR-10. So for anybody who's interested, here's the magazine that came with it. At some point I'm going to do a video on how to clean mags, but this one's probably gone long enough as it is. So, in continuation with my belief that all guns should always be loaded, we are going to load it. And unfortunately, there's not a safety on this, so oh well, there is a safety. It's just a beaver tail safety. So I'm going to immediately. This is the holster I got it with. It's I think they're called Sigmas locking holster, and put it in. And this holster is actually really nice. I like the system. It's not a concealed carry holster, but you you should always draw with your index finger out, and they have a little lever right here you push to release the gun so you can pull it out. You don't pull the lever, you don't push that lever, you can't actually get the gun out. So, and they've got a level 3 system for law enforcement too that actually has a mechanism that clamps onto the back here too, but this is just the level 2 system. And I'm not sure if they make these for Tauruses or not, but I really wouldn't be interested in it anyway, because it's not really all that great for concealed carry. So there's the XD and how to clean your weapon. And I am going to now load my Taurus, and safety's on, and it's going back in its holster. Hope you guys enjoyed. I am eventually going to make a video on how to tear down a magazine too, but haven't got around to doing it yet. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope the sound quality wasn't too bad. Now I gotta clean up my mess. You know what? I just forgot something I normally do. This is a special rag you can get at a gun supply store or order online. It's a silicone infused rag. It's got silicone embedded in the rag, and it's really great for your gun. It creates a moisture barrier on your gun, keeps it from rusting out, just like the oil does, but the silicone will actually stay on your gun better. So I like to give my Taurus, and I'm going to do the XD really quick, a quick rundown. So I'm going to unload it. Mags out. Rack back. Nothing in the chamber. Forgot to do this earlier. You just give it a good wipe down. Every metal part. And give it a good wipe down. And actually, it gives it a decent shine too. And this is not for internal parts. It's just a wipe down. It gets all the salt and stuff off of the gun too, from where we've been wearing it. Also, smells really nice. Well, this one does anyway. So, alright. All guns are always loaded. So, about to get that one loaded. Safety. In the holster. And, the same thing with the XD. Maybe. There we go. Got the magazine out. I got one in the chamber. We'll rack it out. There's my one in the chamber. Lock it back. Check. Visually look. Nothing's in there. Stick your finger in there. You're good to go. And I'm going to give this a wipe down too. These rags will get they'll get really dirty after a while. You want to replace them probably every, depending on how often you use them. I try to replace mine at least once a year. But if you only use it once a year, you probably don't need to replace it once a year. Alright, so I got a really nice slick coating of silicone on the metal parts of the gun, because my trigger's metal on this. I'm going to do that as well. And drop one in. So got a round in there. And we're good to go. Alright, just wanted to cover that. That's it, guys.